Hello and welcome. I am Raghav, and in this session we are going to learn how do we implement reports in our Playwright Java project. This is going to be very easy and very interesting, and we have completed all these earlier topics in the earlier sessions. So all this we have done, we have created our Playwright Java project and framework, and in the last session we learned and implemented page object model. So today we will see reports, and this is going to be very easy and very interesting. You can do hands-on along with me, and whenever you face any issues you can let me know, or whenever you are stuck with anything, it's a very good option that you quickly check online, and if you still stuck and you are not getting solutions, you can always let me know. And even if you want to discuss anything in general with me, you can let me know in the comment section. So let's get started with reporting, and here we are going to use extent reports. So we will add the dependency of extent report in our pom.xml, and before we do that, let me very quickly show you some sample so that you will know how will your reports look like. So you can see this is a sample of extent reports. We get an overview like this with what is pass, what is fail in these charts. This is the overview. Then we also get details each and every test. You can see each and every test and the steps, what passed, what failed, and all the details. We also have option to add screenshots, and I will show you how to do that. So we can also add screenshots to our reports. So let's get started and let us do step number 1, that is we will add the dependency of extent reports in our project in pom.xml. So let me quickly open my project. So here is my Eclipse, and this is the project. I will go to pom.xml, and here, so in the dependency section, I will add the dependency for extent reports. So let me just go to Maven repository, and here search for extent reports. So you will see we have to take extent reports from this com.event stack. So you can go here and you can take the latest stable version as at your time, as at this particular time it is 5.1.2. so just copy this Maven dependency and paste it here, and you can press Ctrl+A to select everything, and then Ctrl+Shift+F key on the keyboard to do formatting, and then save the project. And as soon as you save, it will get the dependency for extent reports, and you can check in the Maven dependencies. You will see extent reports jar is added. Okay, so we have done step number 1. Now we will create a class called ExtentManager in a package called util. In our src test.java, we will create a util package and create ExtentManager.java. So let us go to src test.java package, and here we already have base, pages, and tests packages. Let me create a new package. I will do a right click and say new package, and I will call it as utils. So all utilities can go inside this, and now I will do a right click on this utils and create a new class, and I will call it as ExtentManager. So here, this is our class. So what we are going to do here is we will create the reporter, and then we can use this reporter to add the details about our tests, and then finally create the report. Okay, so here we will first create a extent reports variable. I will say I can keep it private static. So private means it can be accessed only within this class or this package, and I will say private static, and I will say extent reports, and I will call it as extent. Okay, and as of now you will see it will throw errors. So if you hover over this extent reports, you should see an option to import it from extent reports library, and this will come only after you have added the dependency for extent reports. Okay, and then I will create a function get instance which will return extent reports object. So I will say public static. So function I will keep it as public static, and return type is of object of type extent reports, and I will call this function name get instance. Okay, so this is what our function is, and you can see here it is showing an error because we have not yet returned anything, and it is expecting a return of type extent reports. So we will do that. So before that, let us create the reporter. So we will say if extent equals null, that means if there is nothing here, then we will create the extent spark reporter. So I will say if extent equals null, then I will say extent spark reporter, and I'll call it as reporter equals new extent. If I press Ctrl plus space at this time, you should see it should show me if I start typing extent spark reporter, and you can see we also have to give the location where we want to create the report. So you can see this is how we can give the path. So here we are saying I want to put this in the test output folder. So you can see here is the test output folder. In this folder we want to add this report. Okay, and the name we will put as, let me expand this, and I will say ExtentReport.html. Okay, and we have to put a semicolon at the end. Okay, after this we will say we will use extent equals new extent reports, extent equals new extent reports, and then I will attach this reporter. I will say extent.attach reporter, and you should also get this auto suggestions, otherwise you can press the Ctrl plus space on your keyboard and reporter. All right, so this is how we generate the reporter, and of course we have to return the extent reports type object. So I will say return extent, so which we had already declared here. Okay, and you can see now that there are no errors and everything is fine. And you can also press Ctrl plus Shift plus O key on your keyboard just to manage all the imports. As of now it is everything fine here. So this is our extent manager. All right, now after this we will update the BaseTest.java. So let's go to our BaseTest.java, which is in the base package. Okay, open this BaseTest.java, and here we will first create this variable of type extent reports and extent test. So I will say here protected extent reports and protected extent test, and you can either just hover over these red lines and you will see this imports, or you can also press Ctrl plus Shift plus O key on your keyboard and it will manage all the imports. All right, after this we will, in the before method, the method that we have annotated with add before method of testng, we will add these reporting statements. So extent, we will say ExtentManager.getInstance. This is the function that we just created. So we will say in the before method, also in the before method we will call the method object. I will say method and this method is coming from, if I hover over, you can see this is coming from java.lang.reflect. So what will be the use of this, that I will show you in a moment. So here you can also see here it is coming from java.lang.reflect. So I will say extent equals ExtentManager, extent equals ExtentManager, this is the class we created, dot get instance. All right, and then we will say test equals extent.createTest, test equals extent dot, you will also see this auto suggestion create test, and to give the test name we will say method. We will now use this method that we are taking here. We will say method dot get name, and the reason we are doing this is because this will get our test name or method name directly, and we do not have to hard code anything here, because we may be running any test. We don't have to always come here and hard code the test name. It should take it at runtime. Whatever test is running, it should take that name here, and that will be shown in the report. All right, so we have done this in the before method. We are creating the test and getting the name and adding to the test that will eventually be updated in the report. Now in the after method of base test, we will again add this reporting logic. So in case of failure, what we will do, in case of success, and then in case of skip, and then finally we have to flush the report. So this is important. So let us see this. In the tear down method or after method, first we will take this object of iTest result. This is coming from testng. So this is our after method. I will first say iTest result. If you do control plus space, you should get this from testng. Okay, iTest result, and you can say result here. Now here we will say, so we will say if result dot, we will check the status of our test or the result of our test. So we will say if result dot get status, and if it is equal to failure, what we have to do. So I will say if we are creating a if block, result dot get status, and I will say equals iTest result dot failure. In that case, what we need to do is we have to say test dot fail. This is our extent test object. So we will say test dot fail. So this will update the fail status. And here we will also say result dot get throwable. Okay. Okay. And this is important. This result dot throwable will give us the error or the exception that caused the failure, so that we can also update that in the test in the reports. Okay, so this is done. Now we will say else if the result is success. So we will say else if, and I will say result dot get status equals I test result dot, and I will say success. In that case we will say test dot pass, and we will say, in this case we don't have to capture any error or exception, so I will just say here test passed, or you can whatever you want you can add here test passed. And then else if these two are not true, whether it is not fail and it is not success, then it must be a skipped test. So I can just say else test dot skip. So I will say test dot skip, and I will update here test skipped. Okay, and in Java we always add a semicolon at the end of the statement. Okay, so this is what the reporting logic we have put in the after method. We have added this iTestResult object which will capture the result. So this is coming from testng, and this will dynamically capture the status of our tests. All test methods will, their status will get updated here. So after every test, when it will come to this after method function, which is tear down, it will have the status of the result of the test, and then if it is failure, it will update the extent test report with failed status, and also will print the exception or error. If it is pass, it will just put it as a pass and say test passed. If it is not any of these, then it will update it as a skipped test. All right, so this is what we do. And then very important, after doing all this, we have to say extent.flush. This will eventually put everything in the HTML report, HTML file, and generate the HTML report. So we have to say extent.flush. If you forget this, it will create everything, but ultimately your report will be empty. Okay, so this is what we have to do. So we have done this. Now step number 4 is, in our test, if you want, you can add the logging statements like this. Wherever you want this to be shown in the report, we can do like this test.info. So let's say I will go to some tests. Let us say I will go to this login test that we created in the earlier session. So let's say this is what we will run. Okay, so here I can say test.info. Now you can see here I did not had to declare or define what is test, and that is because this test class is extending the base class. And if I go to base class, you can hover over this and press Ctrl on your keyboard, it will turn into a link. And if I go to base test, you can see all this is already declared and defined here. And because I am extending this, that means this becomes a child class of base class, of base test class. So we can directly use all its variables and functions. So I will say here test.info, navigating to login page. Okay, then before adding username, I will say test.info, adding username. This is optional, just in case you want to add some extra statements, logs and statements in the report. You can say this test.info, adding password, then test.info, I will say clicking login button, and then .info, I will say checking home page. Okay, and then test.info, I will just say all steps completed. Okay, so you can add these logging statements. Okay, after this, let us run our test. So you can run with mvn clean test, or we can run as a testng test as well. So because for now I just want to run this particular test and see if everything is fine and we are getting our report generated, I will do a right click here and say run as testng test, and once it is executed, we should get a extent report in our test output folder. So let's see what happens. And during this, when you do hands-on, you can try more things, and you can let me know if you are facing anything else, any issues. And also, if you find something more than what I am teaching, always put that in the comment section, that this is what I found. So this will help a lot of people, and it will help me as well. In the coming sessions, I will try to incorporate those extra information. So this is how we all will grow together. Okay, so I think this is fine and this will fail. In the last session also, I think there was some issue with our locator that we were trying to find here for time. So this will fail and that's fine. Let it fail and we will see the report. Okay, so this is done. And if I refresh my project and I go to test output folder, yes, you can see we have got extent report here. So let us open it with, let's say, a web browser. And yes, we have got our extent report. Okay, and here you can see these are all the details: navigating to login page, adding username, adding password, clicking login button, checking home page, and this is where the error occurred. And if I click this, you can see the details. So timeout exceeded after 30 seconds, which is by default. And you can see here waiting for this locator, so it could not find this particular object with the locator we have used. Okay, so this is the failure. And also we can decrease this timeout for this particular demo, and for that I can go to my BaseTest.java, and here where we are setting up everything, I can say page dot set default timeout, and I can for now just say 4000 milliseconds. That means 4 seconds. It should be ideally be 30, should be fine, which is by default. If you don't give anything, it will be 30 seconds, and this is okay for, generally you should keep that, but just for this demo so that it does not wait a long time, I'm doing this. Okay, so this is fine. You can see all the details are here, and then if I go here, you can see the details: started time, end time, test passed, test failed, all these log events, and then the total test status. As of now we have a single test. Then we can also see the timeline here. Then all the errors you can also check separately here. So this will be very handy when you are running, like, multiple tests, let's say 50, 60, 100 tests. It will be very handy that you directly go to the exceptions tab and see what all tests failed and what was the issue, and you can directly go to that particular test by clicking from here. Okay, and then here you can see all the details as well. Okay, you can also search directly for some particular test. So if there are multiple tests here, you can search from here. Okay, and you can also you can filter from here as well. Okay, and here you can see the time of this report, and all these details are here. Okay, all right, so now let us do one thing. I will We want some good reports with some pass, fail, and some skipped tests. So what I'm going to do is I'll just copy this test. I will call this as test 1, or let me call this as login test 1, and I will just copy this and paste it, and this I will call as login test 2, and I will give the annotation at the rate test. Now see, for testng I can say here enabled, and I can say equals false, which will skip this particular test. Enabled false will skip, but this is only at testng level. Okay, I have to do something at that will update the report. Okay, so for that I will say here in this test, I will say throw new skip exception. If I press control space bar, and I will give some message as well, skipping this test. Now see, this ideally should be at the end, but I'm doing this at the starting just because I don't want to uh, waste time by running all the methods, and then at the end I will say you know skipped or something. So I will say test dot skip, skipping this test. So this will should show in the report now. Okay, and I will again copy and paste this test once again. I will copy and paste it, and this time I'm just going to comment this thing which was failing, so it should pass, and I will call it as login test 3, and of course I have to annotate it with the testng annotation @test. So now we have 3 tests: login test 1 which fails, login test 2 which gets skipped, and login test 3 which should pass. Okay, so let's now try to run this. I will do a right click and say run as testng test. So let's see if we get all these things in the report. And after this I will also show you how you can add screenshot in a case of a failure. Okay, so this has started. This is the first test, and this time this will fail, but yes, this time it did not wait for so long as we have updated the default timeout. And the second test was skipped, and this is the third one, and this one should pass. Okay, so you can see here, if I see the testng results, you can see one test failed, one passed, and one skipped. And what we are interested in is the extent report. So let me just refresh the project and go to extent report and open with system editor or web browser, and you can see, yes, you can see now we have login test fail, login test 1 fail, login test 2 skip, login test 3 pass. Okay, you can see this is pass, this is skipped, and this is failed. And here we can also see the details, and now you can see this also looks good. We have different statuses here, one skip, one pass, and one fail, and these are the information log events, and you can see the timeline here as well. Okay, login test 1 ran until this 25 seconds, and then login test 2 which got skipped, and then login test 3 until the 35th second. Okay, and all these details are here. Okay, so with this we are able to create our extent reports. Okay, we have already seen this. We have skipped one test, so we are able to run this. Alright, so let us now see how do we add screenshots on failure. So let us create a screenshot utility. Okay, I will go to utils package and create ScreenshotUtil.java. So let's go to utils package here and do a right click and new class. I will call it as ScreenshotUtil and finish. Okay, now here this is where we will create the name or the path along with the name of our screenshot. Okay, so let's create a function take screenshot which will return a type string, okay, which will actually be the path, and it will take page and the test name as the input parameters. So I will say public static string take screenshot, public static string is the return type, and this is the function name take screenshot, and here I am getting two arguments, one of type page and another string test name. Okay, now here I will first create a timestamp. So I will say string timestamp, and the reason I'm creating a timestamp is so that this timestamp will be appended to the name of every screenshot, and so that every time the screenshot file name will be unique and it will not override the earlier screenshots. Okay, so in case you don't want to preserve the earlier screenshots and it's okay for you that the earlier screenshots get overridden, there is no need to add timestamp in the name. Otherwise, timestamp will make sure that every time the name of the screenshot is unique. So I will say string timestamp equals to, and I will say new simple date format. And if you hover over this red line, you can see it, you can get it from this simple date format. And no, I will get it from Java util date. Yeah, let me see. If I press Control plus Shift plus O, yeah, this is fine. Java text simple date format. And here I will have to say the format. So I pressed Control plus Shift plus O key on my keyboard, so it added both the import statements. This was for page and then simple date format. So I will say y by y mmdd and underscore hhmmss. So that means it will create year, month, date, and then underscore hour, minutes, and seconds. So this becomes a unique timestamp. So you can see YYY MMDD HHMMSS. All right. Now I will say dot format and I will say new date, and it has also added Java util date here. Okay, so this will give us the timestamp along with the date and current time. Okay, after this I will append this to the location of screenshots. So I want to go this in test output. I will say string path equals test output folder, and it will create a screenshots folder. So this is the folder here. So you can see this is the test output folder, and we will create a screenshots folder here. Okay, and after that I will append the test name. This is whatever we are getting here as an input of this function, and then I am going to add let's say underscore and then again plus. I will append the timestamp that I just created, and then the extension will be .png. So I will say .png. So this creates our path of the screenshot. All right, and this is what we will say page.screenshot, and I will say new page.screenshot options. So the options we want to add. So set path. Here I will say paths.get path, and I will say .get. I will have to say, I will say here .set full page true or false. So see, this is I will show you the difference when we actually take the screenshot. So in case you want to get the screenshot of the complete page, make it true, and if you don't want the complete page, only the page which is visible on the screen during the time of execution, you can make it false. Okay, so as of now I'm making it as true, and this is what I am going to return path, which is a string. Okay, this is what we are returning. So this is our screenshot util, which will create the path of the screenshot along with the name, which will be a unique name every time. And here we are setting this to page and then returning this path. Okay, now this is our screenshot util. We will go to the base test and go in the after method, that is tier down. So I'll go to base test and after method, and here we are going to add take screenshot. So in case of failure, so this is where we have already added this if statement, if condition for failure. Here we will say, we will call the ScreenshotUtil and take screenshot function. So I will say here, in failure condition, string screenshot path equals, I will say ScreenshotUtil. You can press Control space and it will autocomplete dot take screenshot, and here I will pass page object and result dot get name, which will be the name of the test. So I will say result dot get name or test name, or I think name should work. Let me go with this. All right, so I have done this. Now we also have to add this test.add screen capture, and here we will pass this screenshot path. So I will say test.add screen capture, and we will pass this screenshot path. So this is what will add the screenshot on the report. Okay, so until here, see, this thing ScreenshotUtil take screenshot, this function will take the screenshot and will store it in this folder test output. So you will see the screenshot there, but to append it or add it to the report, this is what we have to do. Okay. All right, so make sure that you save, and there's no need to create the folder screenshots. It will auto create it if it is not there. So let us save and run it. So I will go and make sure that you have saved everything and run your tests. Let's see what happens. So we will also check after saying full page false and full page true, what's the difference. So it will take screenshot for this test because it fails. Now of course you can take screenshot whenever you want. If you want to take it for pass as well, you can put the same logic in the pass condition, but that is not required, and anyways it will make your project bulky. It will keep on adding the screenshots, so that's not required. So this is done. Let us refresh our folder and check. So I will refresh my folder, and yes, you can see we have got the screenshots folder added here, created here, and you can see the screenshot as well. And if I open it, you can see because we set full page, it has taken a full page. Okay, and if I say I will go to ScreenshotUtil and I will make set full page as false, and next time when we will run it, you will see it will be only the page that was visible on the screen and not the full page. Okay, so you can also expand it and see it. Okay, now what we are interested in checking the report. So I will go to ExtentReport.html and I will say open with browser, and you can see this one failed, and you can see here it has the image is not, it has added the image but it has not come properly. Let me check here. So here, okay, this is our path, and in the base test we are calling this to get the path. So the path comes here, and that is what is added to the report. Okay, I think this may be because we have taken a relative path here, and it may be needing a absolute path. We know the screenshot is created, we know that. So the screenshot is taken, which is here, we know that, but let us try to add a complete path. Okay, so to get your project path, so see this test output folder is here, which is just below our main project root folder, and to get the location of the project root folder, I can say I will say here system.getProperty. So in Java, to get the location of your project folder, you can say user.dir, system.getProperty user.dir, and let me store it in a variable called project path, system.getProperty user.dir, and this is our relative path of screenshot folder, that is from test output. So I will say string and final path, or I will say absolute path of screenshot is, we have to say project path plus, maybe I can append this and say path. Okay, so basically this is what I will be uh, returning, which will come here, and let's see if this works. So let's save and run it again. Okay, so it has started. So this generally happens, in reporting, and while adding screenshots, it mostly asks for complete path. So we'll see this time. Okay, this is done. Let us just refresh, and yes, you can see this has come here, and this time you will see this is not a full page but only the page that was visible on the screen. Okay, and what we want is to check is the extent report. I will do a right click and open with system editor or web browser, and this time also let me check and see what's the issue. Okay, I think what I can do is here I'll go back to, I'll go to ScreenshotUtil, and let me just uh, return path only here. So I'm just reverting this all to the earlier state, and what I will change is in BaseTest.java, just before adding the screenshot in the report, until here everything remains okay, but here what I will do is, let me first print this out. I will say syso and press control space to complete the print statement, and I will say here screenshot path is this, so this will print the screenshot path. Okay, and after that I will get this project path. I'll cut from here and add here project path system.getProperty user.dir, and then I will say string absolute screenshot path equals, here I will say what I had done here, project path plus the screenshot path which I'm getting here. Okay, plus screenshot path, and I will also try to print this. I will say this will get printed on the console, so I'll just know that what it is printing, and I will remove this from here I don't need this. So this actually changes it back to the original thing that it was there. Okay, so this is all same as earlier. And now here, while adding the screenshot in the report, I will go with the absolute path of the screenshot. Okay, so the thing is, creating the screenshot is not a problem. We have seen that our screenshots are getting created and everything is fine. The only problem is appending or attaching the screenshot to the report. And for that, we have just converted our relative path of the screenshot to the absolute path now. Okay, so let's save and try again and check this time. Okay, so it has started. And this is the third test. And see, all this thing you will get with experience as you will keep on, doing this. You will know what to do at what step. So this is done. Let us refresh our project. And yes, you can see we have got the screenshot created, and we will check the extent report. Open with editor, and still the issue. Let me check again what can go wrong this time. There's one more thing that I can try, is I can say here in our base test. So let me also check the console. If we see, you can see the screenshot path is this, and then the absolute path that is created is this, which is okay. You can see the path is fine, the path is not broken, so the path is fine. Okay, so we are fine here. What I can try is here, in the screenshot util, let me change .png to .jpg. Okay, and in the base test, I think this should be fine. We are saying test.add screen capture. We can say this one absolute screenshot, and we can also give some name. Let me say screenshot here. Okay, this I can delete. So let us try with this as well. Okay, so let's see this time. All right, so the screenshot paths are all correct. The screenshot is also getting created. It's just the appending part in the report. So we will see this time. Let me refresh and I will check the report now. Something is missing here. Okay, if I check my base test, this is test screen capture from base 64. I think this is the issue. It should be test dot add screen capture from path, and then I will say absolute screenshot path, and then I can give the any title here. I think this is what is causing issue. I should be able to see the screenshots now. Let's run. Okay, so that was the reason I was seeing base 64 image in the report. So I hope this will fix it now. So see, I'm not editing out all these troubleshooting steps. I made mistake, and this was a silly mistake, but I will keep it in the video so that when you do similar things, you can also see what to do. Let us now refresh and check. I will refresh and open my, you can see the screenshot is all coming fine. Okay, I will open my extent report, and yes, you can see now we have got our screenshot. Okay, so the screenshot is attached in the failed test case. Okay, all right, so this is now working fine. So we have seen this, our screenshot is created as a separate file and also is visible in our extent report. Okay, so this is how we can also add screenshots in the report, and with this we have completed our reports topic, and in the next session we will discuss some commands and how do we run our project and tests from command line. I hope this was useful. Please do hands on and let me know if you face any issues. I will see you in the next part. Thank you for watching and never stop learning.